All right. Hello, we are live again from the Wisconsin Sports Heroics Facebook page, the Wisco Fanatics Facebook and YouTube pages, and we want to say hello to anybody who listens to this tomorrow or in the future on any of the podcasting apps. Welcome to the Wisco Fanatics show. We got a full broadcast room here today, including my wife and my oldest daughter, Lily, and we're going to let them talk first, and then we're going to talk about the Bucks. So, Lily, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Lily, what do you like about Deer basketball? We call it Deer basketball for the Bucks. Lily, what do you like about Deer basketball? You like Giannis?
Yeah. And I think that's the mascot Deer. Yeah, I like Giannis and the mascot.
Yeah, you like Bango?
Yeah. Because I got stuffed animal of it.
Yeah, you have a stuffed Giannis that we got you when we took you to your first. Her first Bucks game was on February 2nd when they were still in the Bradley Center, and it was the day that Giannis left-handed reverse layup that gave a game winner against the Knicks. That was her first Bucks game. That was on her birthday, actually. So we got her a stuffed Giannis on that day. So she likes Deer basketball, as we call it in our house.
That's a good first game to go to.
Right.
Say that.
You guys have fun, all right? All right.
Better
You
than
guys
half
have
the
fun.
games I've
Well,
been to.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Tyler's family.
All right. Bye. So we wanted to get a whole bunch of people in here and welcome people in and let people talk about, their favorite moments from the Bucks win last night. And we got our buddy Tyler Wilkins in here. We got our buddy Nick Green in here, who is a Lakers fan, unfortunately. So his heart was broken like 2 weeks ago. Don't forget, Nick, you owe me a pie because we did these brackets before the playoffs started. Jake and I made a pie bet like we do on the show sometimes. And I correctly predicted the Bucks in 6 over the Suns. So Jake last week took a pie. I will share that video shortly after we're done here today. So Nick also has to make a pie video for that because he picked the Philadelphia 76ers to win the championship. With bad call by him, but
I didn't. I chose the 76ers to lose to the Lakers.
Oh, okay. You had the Lakers pass the Bucks. All right. So Nick, the Lakers fan, wanted to come in and say a little piece to the rest of us who are Bucks fans.
Yeah, I am genuinely excited for the Bucks fans. I really thought that the Bucks are a great team. I know that feeling, obviously, but being it was since 1979, right? Am I correct? 1971. So all those years.
71.
That's
exactly 50 years.
That's an even bigger great feeling that you guys have right now. I genuinely want to congratulate the Bucks, their fans, the state of Wisconsin. It's just really cool to watch them win. And Giannis is just a freak and just an absolute monster. So it was really cool to watch.
All right, yeah, thanks for hopping on, Nick. And for anybody else that wants to join the show, if you go on the Wisco Fanatics page, you can scroll down a little bit. The most recent post has the link to join our broadcast room that we have going right now, so you guys can hop in and tell us your guys' favorite moments and where you are watching from and your favorite moments from the playoffs. But we're going to kick it over to Tyler. We'll let him give his favorite moments, and let's talk to Tyler. Where were you watching from last night?
I was at Altona. I had a softball game, so I missed about third quarter. I missed the quarter we dominated. And then the second quarter.
Then you had to watch the bad quarter.
Yeah. But one of my favorite moments, and I think it was a big turning point, was when Lopez had that big dunk. I think it was in the third, or you recall he was coming down.
Yep, third quarter.
That was a moment that I enjoyed. I'm like, yep, here we go. And Bobby, I enjoyed watching some of Bobby's plays, the threes, and just Giannis. when he attacked the rim, he wanted it. Yeah, all his free throws that he was making, and Chris Middleton had a big play where Giannis screened and he hit that jumper right at the corner, and that was a big play for us. And I don't know, that was about it. I was pretty drunk, so.
Can I?
Schmo, what was your favorite play of the playoffs? If you had to pick one play
Oh,
for the playoffs, what was your favorite?
probably the alley-oop. Probably Drew to Giannis alley-oop or the block.
That was crazy, man. I've watched that about 100,000 times.
Or the Drew, where Drew stole it, went behind his back, passed it to I forgot who he passed it to, got
Portis.
it back, and then passed it to Portis.
Bobby.
That was a sweet play.
Bobby.
That was
Nick, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I think I just want to say my favorite part of the series was it wasn't necessarily one play or two plays, but every single time the Bucks needed any sort of bucket. And look, Giannis does what Giannis does no matter what, right? But every single time the Bucks needed something important, Middleton, it seemed like he faded away and swished a mid-range jumper right in their face and just killed any chance that they ever had. And this wasn't just last night. This was the whole series. It was pretty insane what Middleton did.
The whole playoffs, even.
Yeah.
Whole playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, he was. Let me say, man, before the season, I said that I had a love-hate relationship with Chris Middleton because I love his game. I hate that he's so inconsistent. And I said that nothing matters to me until he gets to the playoffs and shows me that he can show up when it matters. I'll tell you what, he made a lot of people, including myself, eat their words, and I'll gladly eat my words because we got a title out of it, baby. Chris Middleton was massive this entire playoffs, man. Game winner against Miami, round one. Game one of the playoffs. He was huge against Brooklyn. Obviously carried the weight against Atlanta when Giannis was out for 2 games. And, in the finals, man, he just made big bucket after big bucket. He was one that really put the game away last night on top of it, So Middleton was the man last night. He's the man for the whole playoffs.
I shared a stat with you guys that Chris Middleton had tied LeBron James for the most go-ahead or game-tying field goals in a fourth quarter or overtime, and that was like a week ago. So that was even before games 4, 5, and 6 with Phoenix, and he just continued to be clutch, all the way through all of that. So seeing Chris Middleton have a really, for the most part, consistent playoffs, like he still had his games where he struggled shooting. Some of that just some unlucky bounces, some of it not getting some foul calls, but some of it's just a bad shooting night. But overall, he averaged 24 points, I believe, for the whole playoffs, and he really was the second star to Giannis. And then, obviously having Drew, who is a star on the defensive end, and then can still give you some good offense. It was just a really awesome run through the playoffs. So let's move on to Jake. Jake, what was your favorite moment through this playoff run? I know you said you had like 4 before we started the show, but
this is so tough for me, man. I mean, the block on Ayton was incredible, in my opinion. His ability to guard the pick and roll and then flip over and block a shot, that was crazy to me. Then obviously, the play that my buddy Tyler, Big Schmo, brought up, the alley-oop. The Bucks called it on their Twitter. They called it their own version of the alley-oop, which was just disrespectful. Watching Giannis go up to his family yesterday after everything that he's been through really made me kind of emotional, honestly, because I'm a family man myself. I pride myself in doing everything right for my family. But for me, the number one moment, in my opinion, because it's close to my heart, was Game 7 versus the Nets. That was the day my daughter was born. And that was really the day to me that, Giannis and the Bucks took a really big step. Yeah, right. That was funny.
I like that one.
That was when we beat Kevin Durant in his house. I know it's his first year in Brooklyn, but we beat Kevin freaking Durant. So Giannis and the Bucks stepping up on the road, beating Kevin Durant. I'm not going to even mention James Harden because he's a bum in my opinion. Whether he's 40 pounds overweight or he has a full Achilles tendon or whatever, he was hurt his hamstring. I don't care about James Harden. He's a bum to me. And next year he's going to be a bum with those new rules. Same with Devin Booker and Trae Young. I can't wait to watch him play real basketball. That's going to be fun, actually. But I would say
Harden's going to have to make a big adjustment, and so is Trae Young.
Devin Booker.
Dude, they got to start calling
Young's going to have some big adjustment.
Wing, bro. What the hell is that?
Oh my God! All right, so I sent it. I know I sent it in one of our group chats. But listening to Ted Davis talking about Devin Booker's his little chicken wing thing, and then play that chicken wing song on the radio, I lost it right after that. I laughed so hard because Ted Davis was talking about that chicken wing move, and then he plays that song right after that, and then Ted Davis goes, "They should play that while Devin Booker's shooting free throws." I laughed so hard thinking about that. But it's that annoying. It's that chicken wing song.
Let's be honest.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Booker got that from Harden. That's the originator of this entirety of what's the problem with the rules these days. It's James Harden. That's the core of it all. These guys aren't doing it because they're just like, hey, one day I just decided I'm going to do this to people and they're not going to call it. It was really watching this guy score 40 points a game with 26 free throws and watching him do that.
Okay, I'm going to respond to a comment on here. Dylan, I don't actually
there was
think
one
James
play.
Harden's a bum.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't actually think James Harden's a bum. He's actually very skilled. He's a great shooter. Obviously, he's a great free throw shooter because he can make 25 out of 26 free throws when he goes there. Going off Nick's comment. James Harden's a very talented player, great ball handler. He's a good passer, but I just hate how he plays. It's so tough to watch, man. When he's controlling the entire game, shooting that many free throws, like I don't want to watch that.
I think what you're trying to get at is like it cheapens how good he is when he does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate watching him shoot free throws. There's a video on, through a YouTube video, of people getting fouled and chill out moments, and Harden is responding to a fan in the crowd, and people are like, "James, we don't want to watch you shoot 20 free throws," and he goes, "Well, people don't want to watch fouls either." Well, dude, it's not always a foul. I mean, Jay Crowder got a really bad one yesterday. He flopped for a 3 and he made that and one. I was like, come on, man. They got to really dive into that.
Chris Paul got some lucky ones last night, too.
They got a few of them last night they got a few of them.
Chris Paul got one for sure where he was shooting a mid-range jumper and Giannis just landed near him and Chris Paul just fell down. Yeah, and he got a foul call.
Oh, that was
the kind of thing.
That running jumper he did, and all he did was just fell down, and no one got near him.
Yep, I agree, Dylan. I agree.
Yeah, it's annoying. The other thing, they didn't call it. They didn't give Booker the foul call, and I'm really glad they didn't. There was a play where he was doing a runner. He was on so the rim is here, and he was doing a right-handed runner, and Brook Lopez came to contest it, and Booker went like this to get Brook Lopez's arm to hit his off arm, and they didn't call a foul. And I'm really glad that they didn't because it's obviously not a foul. And it's only because Booker went like that and swung his arm up. Booker created all of that contact, and that was the only contact on that play. So I was really glad that they didn't give Booker that foul call.
But again, like we
just had my coworker,
I was just going to say that's another James Harden thing that they learned, though. James Harden will literally grab someone like this and then go up, and they call the foul for him, and you're like, why?
They called Chris Middleton for a foul on Ayton last night.
Yep, that's exactly. Yep, DeAndre Ayton did the same thing. He stealed Middleton off. Middleton went like this with Middleton's arm right here.
60 pounds and inches and.
I think as fans of basketball, we're all really hoping these rule changes just get rid of this stuff that we don't want to watch. I don't want to watch that. I genuinely do not like watching that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I hate is I see Booker and Trae Young do it a lot is the head flick, and then Booker just yells every time he shoots. Like that's how in the Bucks regular seasons games with the Suns, right at the end of the game, he PJ Tucker nicked his elbow with his pinky, and Booker just yelled. And he got a foul call. He acted like he got slapped in the face with a yardstick, and he just yelled and got a foul call.
What were you gonna say, Schmo?
Oh, that play when Middleton got that foul on Ayton, where Ayton actually hooked him.
Yeah,
and that was his third foul in the second quarter, I think. Yeah. I'm like, but I was thinking Bud should have challenged that right there, but Chris actually stayed. He didn't get any more fouls after that, but I was worried. I'm like, we can't lose Chris. He should have challenged that. I don't care.
Yeah, Middleton had to play. Middleton had to play kind of conservative after that too, and it's kind of unfortunate. But Middleton doesn't really get in a lot of foul trouble, so there was really only 1 or 2 plays where Middleton, you could see he kind of took a more passive approach. Like there was where Bridges was trying to go for the dunk, and Middleton kind of just like put his arm past him. He didn't actually try to swat at the ball, and it caused Bridges to miss the dunk. So I mean, he still did what he had to do. And he didn't get any more foul calls. So it's just an unfortunate situation where honestly the call could go either way. Like Dylan said, just taking advantage of how the refs play the game. It's true, and it's a dumb thing, and we can watch a replay of it 5 times and be like, oh, it's Ayton that's doing that. Ayton that's drawing that contact, or Ayton's the one hooking his arm. It's just an unfortunate thing, but we can see that after we watch all the replays, and obviously the refs don't have that luxury while they're reffing a game.
That's one thing that sucks about basketball is it's always like, oh, it could have gone either way. We need a better structure than that of what is the call here? What are you supposed to call? Either way shouldn't be the answer. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Cody, yes, you did. You did call that Middleton.
My coworker Brad just hopped in and he said, my coworker Brad hopped in and said the Bobby technical, which we were all surprised was turned into a GIF almost instant when Bobby Portis got that foul call on Jay Crowder for not fouling him at all, and then he did a full jet hands sprint walk down the floor, and
what a high step to the end zone.
It was
awesome. High knees. I don't know how they call it.
Why is that a technical?
He's so weird.
Someone tell me why that's a technical.
Because it's running away from the ref is the technical. Because what they say is that you're upstaging the ref. Joakim Noah got called for it in the playoffs a couple years ago too.
So,
and then the thing that annoyed me about that was literally two plays later, Devin Booker does get a foul call when Drew strips him clean. Like Drew Holiday lets Booker drive right into his body, goes like this, pokes the ball away from him, gets a steal. And then like right after the next dead ball, Drew Holiday takes off running down the floor, doesn't get a technical.
Yeah. Can we all agree that the refs just have a little too much power here? It's turning
that's every sport.
Well, I think basketball in particular, the refs have a very strong hold on the game itself. Whereas baseball, let's be honest, like unless you're calling a few bad strikes, the refs really don't have a whole lot to do with it. And football, it really is circumstantial.
Football,
like it's not as like gray as basketball is. Football is a little more black and white. Football is a little more black and white. Basketball is just it's chaos sometimes. One game 2 of the finals, they called the game so opposite of game 3 of the finals for whatever reason. It was polar
Game
opposite.
1 was really bad.
Yeah. Why?
Well, I'm going to say this about football refs. You're not going to convince a lot of Packer fans that reffing isn't bad after watching the NFC Championship game. I'm just going to say that right now because that was terrible.
Or just history in general for the Packers as far as
how are you going to let
concerned.
it go for 57 minutes and then minute 58? No, we're calling this now. Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Hurts my heart.
It's gonna be a sore spot, but obviously the fail Mary is still a situation where it's like, how do you mess that up? Like, I still like, how do you not?
And
it's just so baffling.
Locker refs.
There's rival fans that will say like, "Why does that matter?" And you're like, "Well, that was the difference between the first seed and what was it, the third seed, I believe. That was the difference between home field advantage that year in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that one game.
Oh yeah.
So we have to go to Seattle instead.
Nick, to your point about the incremental parts of it, I have literally a whole list of the refs making it about them and not about the game. And that's something that Jake and I have detested over and over and over again is whistles in sports. They're just never a good thing. I mean, obviously you have to call the stuff that's obvious, but when you get into these really, really nitpicky situations, like for example, the Brooke Lopez being called for the basket interference when Drew Holiday threw him a lob. The ball was like this far in the cylinder, which sure, you can call that. But the fact that like a minute and a half before that, they don't call Jay Crowder for pulling net while Giannis's shot is still bouncing on the rim. Like, you're gonna call one, you got to be calling the other, and if you don't call one, then you can't call the other. That's the same situation as the Packer game.
Yep. The lack of consistency is alarming to fans, and I get it. I totally get. Look, when we're in the chats, we all admit, like, we don't want to complain about the refs. That's not what we do. That's not what we're about. But there are definitely circumstantial places that we hold where this is just BS at this point. Like, I can't justify what the refs are doing sometimes at all. I'm not a Bucks fan, but there was times I just sat there last night and I was like, this is just really, really bad. Bad reffing.
Yeah.
Dylan, definitely want to thank you for jumping in the comments, and would invite you to follow the Wisco Fanatics page if you're not already. We do pie bets and stuff like that. So bottom left here is my buddy Nick, who's going to have to take a pie for not picking the Bucks to win the championship. Jake got one last week.
I've had two.
Jake said two. He also got one for March Madness. Dylan brought up a good stat saying that Devin Booker was 0 for 7 on threes last night, which is definitely worth mentioning. And just the defense that was played on him as this season went on, obviously there's no stopping a player like Devin Booker because he's so gifted offensively, but it's about contesting shots and, doing your best to slow down and contain impacts and things like that. So that 0 for 7 on threes last night is a big deal, and that's credit to the Bucks defensively.
Let's be honest, Booker's not a great three-point shooter. He's just not. But when he's on, you got to do something. It's very good that you guys have Chris Middleton, especially this year in the playoffs. That length was bothering Booker, like absolutely bothering Booker in every way. And then you have that backup defense of Brooke Lopez. There was Giannis that swatted him that one time where he just thought he was just going to go right to the rim, and he just smacked that back at him.
Dude, I love Giannis.
Even Connaughton last night. Yeah. So Giannis is the first player in a finals game to have 50 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks. First player ever in finals history.
It was a legendary performance in the finals. There's nothing short of that. That's what it was.
He had like 2 or 3 blocks that they called goaltends. I think 2 blocks for sure.
Well, there was one that it actually did show it did hit the rim or the backboard.
It touched the backboard. Yep.
Yeah. He was
Giannis had those blocks where he just kind of spikes it to the ground. I'm like, Jesus, Giannis, that's so mean.
He literally smacked the ball down and looked at Booker like,
Nah, not in here, little homie. Stay out there by that line over there, all right?
And then what did Booker do? He went,
oh, boy, here we go.
So it was, we got another guest joining the show. Troy, I see you in the comments.
Goat Net is in the building.
We talked about Drew. We talked about Giannis. We talked about Lopez. Pat Connaughton played some really good on Booker last night. He got a couple foul calls, but he really played some really good defense on Devin Booker last night, and Pat Connaughton deserves some credit.
He also got a bunch of threes, though. Pat Connaughton has a tendency to shoot threes when he's not hitting, and last night he wasn't necessarily.
I think he was 0 for 4.
Yeah. So, but in the fourth quarter, if you watch back, he pump fakes instead of shoots and starts passing off.
And he drives.
That's what you guys needed.
Yep.
Hey, last night was a PJ Tucker.
Aaron, you're saying it. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Last night was a PJ
Jake
Tucker
and I
game.
have expressed our he's very important to this run. Very important. Sam, thanks for hopping in. Fear the Deer for sure. I actually had my Fear the Deer shirt on that Jake and I we both bought when we went to a Bucks Raptors playoff game in 2018. the shirts outside the Bradley Center. That's the shirt that I had on last night during the game
you
underneath
still
my
have his
Giannis
bobblehead?
jersey.
You still have his bobblehead, dude?
Yep. Yes, I do. It's right there.
With the
I got it right here.
Bro. With the poster.
He did, Dylan. PJ Tucker locked up all postseason, but I think PJ Tucker's shining light of this postseason was against the Nets. When he shut down KD that one game, it was like that was the funnest game I ever watched. To watch KD just not know what to do. He was getting dominated.
That's because KD's 140 pounds and he's getting laid on by a grown
His
man.
bodyguard ran onto the court.
Yeah, you talking about when his bodyguard ran on the court? Yeah.
KG's
awesome.
yeah.
All right, so let me ask you, Dad.
That's still so crazy.
Dad, what was your favorite moment of the playoffs?
Just seeing Giannis last night. Let all the emotion out. I mean, that's real.
I agree.
That was real.
Yeah.
Hey, can I add one? My other
favorite
moment was when Giannis. Well, you ran up to his family like Jake said right away. But my other one was like his press conference with the 2 trophies where he's just kissing them, or when he went IG live with his brother Thanasis. That was cool.
Thanasis.
Did you see him go live today?
Thanasis wanted to be there and he couldn't. That's what sucks, you know. I felt so bad for him.
Live this morning, Schmo? Did you see that live this morning?
Oh, the 50 chicken wings.
Dude, he was. I was watching it because I was laying in bed. It was at like 10 this morning. He went through the Chick-fil-A line, dude, and one of the fans touched the trophy.
Oh, dude, that was awesome. Yeah.
He's like, I stole these. I got to take them back.
I kind of feel like you guys may have gotten some of that feeling that I got when Kobe jumped onto the table and was doing that. It's kind of like when Giannis was sitting there on the bench. It was like chairs, and he's sitting there and you can see he's like crying, but not like just the rush of emotions and the happiness that Giannis had, and he's sitting there crying. That was real. That was like a real moment right there, where people that are happy for Giannis and the Bucks, that was good TV. That was wonderful TV right there, and I loved every moment of it.
When he got up off the bench,
that's something where Giannis is such. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
When he got up off the bench, I think his adrenaline. I bet you he could have lifted a car. It seemed like that. I mean, it was like he was. You know, he could have went WWE on somebody and just body slam the Big Show or something. You know, I mean, he just.
Well, how big Giannis has gotten over the years, I'm sure without that he could still lift a car. But
I was just gonna say, you see his shoulder? He'll probably lift my car right now.
No, he's probably crashed now.
I hope so. He said at 10 a.m. he didn't sleep yet.
Oh yeah.
He ordered a 50-piece nugget from Chick-fil-A, for all 50 points.
Aaron, to answer your question, Giannis will definitely have a statue someday for sure.
Oh yeah,
that'll be when he retires though, because once the statue done, it'll have all of his rings on his.
Where would you rank Giannis as of right now?
So for me,
for the Bucks, like you got Kareem, you got Oscar. Where are you putting Giannis now? 2, but after Kareem and before Oscar.
Yes, 100%. And in a few years, Giannis will be number 1
before Oscar. Yep.
So okay, now that's really interesting to me because I think you're predicating that Giannis will stay for a very long time, unlike Kareem, who left, obviously. So that's probably why he'll end up being the greatest Buck ever.
Hey man, he sent the tweet out. First of all, he loves smoothies. Secondly, he has loyalty in his DNA. Giannis is a Buck, baby. I don't see Giannis going nowhere else.
Nick, it's fair that you bring that up because what I say this to people all the time is that Milwaukee really not only got lucky with Giannis that he's the way that he is that Giannis coming from a different country, being in Milwaukee is already a big city for him. He's already in a big market in his mind. You look at the Deer District last night. There's 65,000 people out there in a small market.
I just want to say my mom, who's a Warriors fan, called me and said, "Do you see how many people are outside the Bucks Center?" I was like, "What?" And then they were showing it on TV, and the fans in Wisconsin are, if they're not the best, they're up there with them.
I'm not gonna lie. If they could have had 100,000 outside, they would have had 100,000. I mean,
Yeah.
they,
That's how Wisconsin works around here, man. We don't have anything else.
Lambeau Field, every Packer game, 80,000 or 78 packed to the walls, And
Yeah, but then outside the stadium, there's people still tailgating and stuff, man.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy on how much.
I agree, Amanda. I one of the things I really love about Giannis, and I like watching him win a championship. He really is like a great guy. Like, how could you not like that guy? He is just everything that you could ask for in the new face of the NBA, to be honest.
They're few and far between. There's very few players like that, man.
You got Giannis, Luka, Zion, maybe a few others that maybe you could, but I think Giannis really has shut that door from the people under him as I'm the new face of the NBA. Yep. This is my territory now. Yep. I really think last night presented that.
I'll tell you what, Zion, I love Zion. He's a good kid. But his family's starting to talk a little bit too much for my liking. People don't want his family getting involved. Like, oh, he needs to get traded, blah, blah, blah. No, we don't want to hear that, man. This is why everybody loves Giannis so much, because he fought through the adversity. He never ran away from it. You know what he did? He went back in the weight room. He went back in the gym. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see people teaming up and doing all this other stuff, signing with 4 top 5 players. We don't want to see that, man. We don't want to see that. We want to see a guy like Giannis can win that mother chucker,
Very, very Michael Jordan-esque of the early days.
Yeah, that was dope, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, Amanda, I agree. He definitely deserved this championship, and he deserves a lot of credit. For me, there was really, aside from obviously the game, that there was 2 things that kind of stood out for me. Was one, in his championship hat, he was just overcome with emotion. And he had that piece of green confetti that fell on his arm, and then he just went and sat on the chairs behind the basket. And just seeing the culmination of all of his hard work that he had done, and then feeling the we did it feeling. And then for other things, all the way back to the Miami series, that game 2 where the Bucks were making all of those 3-pointers. That game was so much fun to watch. Like the Bryn Forbes was splashing threes, and Connaughton's hitting threes, and Middleton's hit. Everybody's just hit threes, and they just blew Miami out. A lot of fun because I remember watching that second, sitting there laughing because that time the Bucks tried to win.
Well, I'm sure your guys' most memorable game was last night, but for me, as just a genuine basketball fan, my favorite and most fun game to watch was that Game 7 against the Nets, where Clutch KD hits the 3 at the end of the 4th, and then Clutch KD airballs it at the end of the overtime. That was just the funnest game. I don't care between both teams. I'm not going to be biased for either one, but I was sitting on the edge of my seat like, oh my goodness, this is where I watch playoff basketball.
Dude, I was in the room because my daughter was just born that day, and my girlfriend's just dead, right? She just gave birth, right? She was pushed out a human being, so she's sleeping, and I'm being so loud trying to be quiet in the room that 4 nurses come in the room and watch the end of the game with me.
That's awesome.
They're like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, the Bucks are playing." I'm running back and forth, and I'm just like trying to be quiet because there's like two other people giving birth right now, and these nurses come in like, "Oh, let's go Bucks!" They don't give a crap, but. That was the craziest day. That was the best day of my life. I'm just going to say that right now. It was the best day of my life. That was crazy. Oh, man. I don't know.
So I just got a notification. There was a bar that was running a special for every free throw that Giannis made. They were giving away free shots.
Oh, no. What are you, 16 for 17 last night or something like that?
17 for 19, I think.
17 for 19.
17-19.
Do you think that they were pointing at the bartender going 1, 2, 3?
Not by the end of the night.
Oh, fuck. I would have been fucking posted if I was at that bar.
It was the Crow Bar and Grill. I don't know where that bar is, but the crowbar and grill was giving away free shots every time he made a free throw.
Could you imagine, like, hey, we're going to go get like 4 free shots. And then you're like, 17 free shots tonight.
For most states, that's alcohol poisoning. In Wisconsin, that's just a good old Saturday night, baby.
They were chasing it with
That's a Tuesday night in Wisconsin.
Jeez.
That's an awesome story.
Wow.
The bars in Michigan. Okay.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick about the competition? How do you feel about the Suns in general? As far as like, there was a lot of, let's be honest, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened this year, and this is not me asking in any sort of way to discredit what Giannis and the Bucks just did. They earned that. They won that. They deserve that. No one can take that from them. I'm just asking for some, transparency, I guess.
I'm gonna let my dad go first. Dad, what do you think about the Suns? What do you think their next move is?
They need bench. They got enough scoring. DeAndre Ayton, hopefully he learns from this. He's got size. He's not a Giannis where he's going to take you off the dribble or anything. But, with a Chris Paul and a Devin Booker, he fits with them.
He does.
I think they need a little more size and toughness.
I mean, as much as we love Frank, let's be honest, man. If he played like a full series, he wasn't going to hold up. He was too small.
Frank, a little more athletic. He can actually take the ball and put it on the ground, on the floor.
Oh, true.
Take a couple steps. We saw that
offense.
He could do a spin and get a layup or whatever, kind of like Giannis. Okay, I'm not comparing him to Giannis.
Yeah.
But he is somebody, compared to Ayton. Ayton's gonna, back and then a little jump hook or something,
Yep.
Well,
I think they really need bench help too.
Well, that's supposed to be Cam Johnson. Yeah, but he's useless unless he's shooting up 8 3-pointers.
Can't stop.
My answer to that question would be the Suns really messed up by not featuring Mikal Bridges. He was my X factor coming into this series, and we talked about it. Game 2, he had 27 points, and the Suns, won that game. And in game 4 or game 3, he had 4 points. And then the next game, he had 7 points. I think he had like 7 or 10 points again. The Suns really messed up by not taking advantage of using a guy like Mikal Bridges when all the attention is on Chris Paul and Devin Booker. They featured Jay Crowder a lot, who, to his credit, had some really good shooting games in this series. But to me, they have a weapon in Mikal Bridges that they just opted not to use, honestly, really. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not.
Let's hear what Wilkins has to say, and then I'll give my rebuttal.
I think the Suns are actually a very good team. When they lost Saric early game 1, I think that was a big blow because that was another big body. They didn't have any big bodies. Frank is not a big body. He's lanky.
He's tall.
But anyways, what I got out of that series, they're a very good team. They need to re-sign CP3 or hopefully he takes the player option. And then just keep everyone intact, give Ayton an extension. I think Ayton was like kind of the offense kind of flowed through him with the pick and roll. And like on defense, like Ayton was huge. This series showed me how good of a player he is. Like the first 2 games, they dominated. And then they got him in foul trouble. And you could just see the Suns' offense wasn't the same when Ayton wasn't on the floor.
So
this
is what these kind of shows are about, is for me, someone like me that has the opposite view of it. Someone today said that DeAndre Ayton is just a better version of Hibbert. And I actually was like, come on. And then all of a sudden I went, actually, now that I think about it, that actually makes a lot of sense to me. It's almost as if I watched the Cavs beat the Pacers again. Or I'm sorry, the Heat beat the Pacers again. because Hibbert was just an enormous liability. He has these moments where, yeah, he can dunk the ball 15 times in a game. But what about when, just like last night, when Giannis is on him, someone like Giannis is on him, and now you have to play Frank Kaminsky because you can't even have Ayton on the floor anymore. It's a liability at that point. I find Ayton to be an extraordinary player, just only in a very certain setting for this new NBA genre, if that makes sense. I think Tyler made a great point about Mikal Bridges because they put all their eggs in Cameron Payne's basket, and Cameron Payne did not come through, did he? Mikal Bridges could have been that guy where Cameron Payne throughout the playoffs.
Only in the first quarter.
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped giving him the ball in the corner. He was hitting all his shots. Cameron Payne for the playoffs was amazing. And in the finals, it was like, oh, that's the real Cameron Payne, actually. So I think they have a lot of work to do. I don't think CP3 is it. I almost feel like maybe CP3 should retire at this point. He's broken down. He's great, but he's going places that I don't know if he can win at this point. I think that was his best chance.
I'll tell you, this is my answer. Devin Booker's 22 years old. DeAndre Ayton's 22 years old. Those guys are young. They're very, very young. When I was 22 years old, I'll tell you what, I wasn't leading an NBA franchise in the finals and scoring 40 points.
And that's great. This is just my initial analysis of what I watched. You know what I mean?
I'm just giving like my outlook. I think Chris Paul could fit great with this team because where he's at in this stage in his career, I think this is the perfect fit for Chris Paul. And if he doesn't come here, and the Lakers, you and Isaac, what's up, Isaac? How you doing, buddy? You guys are Lakers fans. If you guys don't get Dame, I think Chris Paul's going there because of his relationship with LeBron, and that is the second best fit for Chris Paul outside of Phoenix, in my opinion. Because all regular season, you can just let Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton do whatever the hell they want to do because they're 22 years old and they got those spry legs. And then in the playoffs, you can just let Chris Paul run that high pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. Ayton is a great screen setter. He's a great big body for a roller. So that's perfect for Chris Paul, who can just roll off and shoot that mid-range. It's when he starts turning the ball over in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's when you're starting to be like,
I was about to say,
but you have to give credit to Drew Holiday for picking him up 94 feet.
True.
That's not easy on an old man.
But there was also this Chris Paul that I saw where he lost the ball where nobody touched him. Like the end of the end of game 3? No, it was the end of game 4. He just lost. He just completely lost the ball. There was good defense. I'm not discrediting that, but he just lost the ball. He just completely lost the ball. Like you started to see Chris Paul as in he was in a decline. I saw a declined Chris Paul as of the latter part of the playoffs. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I would agree that he.
The thing with Chris Paul,
he got tired.
He was tired.
He could have an important role on a good team, but the minutes are going to eat him up, like you're talking about. I don't think he needs to retire. I think he could play a year or two yet, but he's got to cut back the minutes way back.
My point was, if he's not going to be on a team ready to win, then I don't see him.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why it's either Phoenix or LA. That's it.
So that's why Jake mentioned LA, because you can literally just join LA and you don't have to really do anything. You just have to be there at that point,
Dude, he could be the third or fourth fiddle there, and he could just be great at passing, hit an occasional mid-range every once in a while, play some defense like he does. He'd fit in great with you guys, honestly.
But like your dad said, those minutes, you could see it. You could see it on his face. Giannis can take that. He's young. He can do. It doesn't matter. You see him with his hands on his knees, and the very next play, he yams it on someone's head.
I know it. It's amazing.
He puts his hands on his knees, and you go, he's done.
The biggest issue with Chris Paul is he's never healthy in the playoffs. Never. This series, you can see that. He got a little bit more healthy as the playoffs went on, but then you could see that he wasn't 100%. And
Yeah.
That's just the liability that you get if you get Chris Paul.
He's the
It's-
Anthony Davis of point guards.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for them to come up with a report that he needed shoulder surgery after
Oh,
that
yeah,
Lakers
you know,
series. That's why he was turning
like
the
a
ball
Tom
over.
Brady report, like, oh, he played the whole season with like a torn labrum. Like,
here's my thing.
Come on, man.
Like, yeah, cut the guy some slack.
No,
You know, he
I'm not cutting slack. He tried to kill
he
guys.
played hard.
Chris
He shot the ball
Paul
great. I mean,
Chris Paul has been good long enough and played long enough that I don't need to cut him slack anymore. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
He
Here's
wasn't
the
even
thing,
wearing-
though.
Chris Paul is
Oh, go ahead.
Chris Paul is
He
the
wasn't
only
even wearing
player
the
to
KP.
lose. He's
2-0.
Chris Paul only player to lose 4 series. No, 4 series with a 2-0 lead. Only player in NBA history. 4 series with a 2-0 lead that he's lost.
And they said it was
Blake
but
Griffin is second with 3.
there's 4 other guys on the floor. There's how many more on the bench?
So-
you can't just put that on him.
So someone-
Yes, I understand he
someone
was
said that in a
on that,
group.
but
Someone said that in a group, and I actually looked up those series, and I remember a lot of those games where I went, you could actually blame Chris Paul for a lot of those games. You could. He has this tendency
He's
He's a
about him.
point guard. That's
Game 5, especially. Chris Paul had like 3 turnovers in like the final 5 minutes, and that decided the game after Booker hit shot after shot. Then Chris Paul just turns it over 3 times. It's like, oh, okay, Bucks is like, we're gonna take advantage of this, and obviously you guys won the game. It's Chris Paul is, I don't know, he just wasn't himself, but
well, we were just talking about that yeah, he's getting older and that's what I was saying, the minutes,
yeah,
he can't do the minutes like like they expected him to do or whatever.
he's gonna have to do load management like Kawhi.
well, and that goes back to Jake's point about having a bench.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes well with
Yeah.
Jake's point about having a bench and having depth. That the Suns don't really have a dependable backup point guard. Like, yeah, like Payne, he's all right, but he's he's not a veteran by any means. Like,
No.
as much flack as Jeff Teague took, he made a difference in Game 5 by, like Jake said this last week when we talked about it, about the full court pressure. Like, Jeff Teague is not an all NBA defender, but he can come in and he can give Drew a little bit of relief.
Mm-hmm.
And with the absence of Dante DiVincenzo, Drew being out, Jeff Teague came in and he gave what he had. And he's part of the ring, and he deserves some credit to go with the rest of the team. So Jeff Teague deserves a little bit of credit too.
Me and Isaac can attest to this. If you don't have a backup point guard,
Yeah, and you need that veteran guy. You know what I mean? You need that veteran. Like,
yeah. And I don't mean Caruso or PhD. I mean like a real backup point guard.
Okay, so I got a question. I'm going to switch to Packers real quick, since people are probably wondering why are these Lakers fans talking about the Bucks. We're all Packers fans, so I just want to ask a question. I'm going to take a poll. I'm going to go Wilkins, Nick, my dad, Isaac, because that's the row that you guys are in on my screen. Do you think Rodgers reports next Wednesday? Wilkins?
I think so.
Nick?
If he doesn't, we're in trouble.
I don't think so. I don't. But I do think he reports a week before the games start and he plays. I don't think he's reporting next week.
He's going to come a week before the season? He's a savage.
I think it's Rodgers' world right now.
Hey, that's how he thinks. That's what arrogance gets you. I agree with that. Dad, what do you think?
I think he's there.
Okay. Isaac?
I'm going with Schefter. No, I'm just kidding. He's reporting for sure. Nah, he'll be there. You know what I mean?
Well, Tyler and I are going to go next week, and we're going to let you guys know if he's there. If he's not there, I'm buying a plane ticket, and I'm finding out where this mother heller is, and I'm getting his ass to Green Bay. That's all I'm going to tell you.
I'm from California. Put me on the mission. I'll be there.
All right, you cover West Coast. I'll cover like Bahamas.
I'm grabbing him by his locks and dragging him there.
Let's be honest. If Rodgers doesn't play, we have a really, really good football team. I don't care about the notion about how Rodgers is carrying us like he did. Let's be honest, he did for many years. But today, right now today, I don't think that I necessarily need Rodgers to. And look, I'm not talking about Super Bowl winning. I'm talking about being a good football team with a quarterback that we can develop and be good once again and be great. I don't necessarily feel vulnerable if we play Jordan Love. We have a great football team right now.
Yeah, I think our running game really amped up, and our O-line. We have depth on the O-line. We have running. I mean,
the offensive line. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And Hill, he's been turning heads. He might steal a little touches from A.J. Dillon, just using his speed. And, I think the running game is really going to help Jordan Love's development here. And, he can even, like, Kirk Cousins it, like play action passes, because our running game is going to be pretty good. Even with Rodgers, I think he's going to utilize more of the running game himself, because – when you have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and then Hill comes in and for the speed, we're going to have thunder and lightning times 2 in there.
Well, for one, when you pay Aaron Jones that amount of money, he better touch the ball a whole hell of a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And 2,
I like that you brought up Kylan Hill, because he's somebody – oh, go ahead.
Yeah, get out of there.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Give your number 2, and then I'll go.
Oh, okay. My number 2 –
all right. So I was going to say, I'm glad that
Tyler's behind like a whole 3 seconds.
for like 3 minutes, I swear to God. Go ahead, Tyler.
Get on that Wi-Fi.
Jake, say your number 2.
My number 2 is the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. That's my number 2.
Woo!
Ooh. That's a good bold prediction.
Hey. Take big shits.
All right.
Jake, head to Vegas
so
right
what
now.
I wanted to say was that I'm glad that Isaac brought up Kylan Hill, and that he's turning some heads in training camp so far, is that he could fill that Tyler Ervin role that, we talked about it a lot during last season, about the role that Tyler Ervin plays, even though he's not a stat guy, but he still plays an important role by being all over the field anyway.
Absolutely.
So that's something that we could see for a guy like Kylan Hill. So.
Yeah, he can be our utility knife there.
Fred hopped in here. You got a couple of comments. The Greek Freak has done for Milwaukee.
I want to add something to that Kylan Hill.
Oh.
I think he'll be a great special teamers, and I think he'll, like Tyler Ervin, I think Amari Rodgers will be more of that role.
Amari Rodgers.
I think Amari Rodgers will be more of that
pretty
role.
much just stole what I was going to say, because our special teams has been, the worst 5 special teams in the league for like a decade now. When is it time for us to finally have a special teams that actually can help us on the football field? Like, Rodgers made it so that the special teams didn't have to be there. That's great, but the moment that we finally do need the special teams, they suck. Let's be honest. They absolutely fail us in so many ways. If this guy Hill and, like you said, Rodgers can be these guys that fills those voids and makes it so that we stop fumbling the ball, stop getting 2 yards every punt return. Like, let's get this together. That's an important part of the game.
Just like anything else, though, it's an attitude. You gotta want to play. You gotta want to block. I mean, all these guys are great athletes. Obviously they run circles around you and me, but when you got other athletes that are just as good, you gotta just give them a crease. The guy's going to bust off 10, 15 yards.
And we need the person that is doing it to catch the ball.
Well,
that's the biggest thing.
One thing I'm sick of is watching – what's up, Cody?
What up, Cody? Hey, how's it going?
I'm sick of watching the other team get to the 40-yard line every kickoff and watching our punt return team give up 25 yards every punt. In the NFC Championship game – how many times were we on the 35-plus, and how many times were the Bucks on the 35-plus? Every single special teams, anything that happened.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Like, this needs to be fixed. That's a huge aspect of the game.
Since we're talking about special teams, last year when we signed Tavon Austin. I thought he had been like a returner for us.
Then
Someone great.
First thing
And
he
he
ever
was just
touched.
he was just ass too. I think
He
it's
did
more
absolutely nothing.
I think it's more coaching and like the the coaching part for special teams that are not getting it done because we have some talent out there.
But coaching doesn't teach fumbling or help with the fumbling. That's just
I'm
the
pretty sure
players.
it was Tavon Austin's very first punt return. He fumbled it, didn't he? And
Yeah,
then
I think
picked it
so.
up and got like -1 yards or something.
I think
so.
I think like getting away kind of the special teams talk. Another weapon that's going to help is DeGuara. DeGuara. He's kind of the Swiss Army knife type of offensive player. He can be HB for us. You know what I mean? Tight end. He's got wide receiver skills.
He's supposed to be faster than Tanya. He's supposed to be a faster, more agile guy for us. So
yeah, if DeGuara can pick it up right away, then Jay Sternberger is going to be gone. You know
So
what I mean?
I was just about to ask that. Are we all off the train of Sternberger then? Because Sternberger in college was a really great tight end for catching the ball.
Yeah, Jace
Sternberger
had
is
his
duty.
time, and
He's duty. He's done.
yeah. I mean,
He's
last
done.
season he had no excuses. You know what I mean? Like the first season, yeah, he got injured, so we can leave. You know what I mean? Give Jace some leeway. But last season he had no excuses, and Rodgers threw him the ball a couple times, and he was dropping passes. So can't have him on the team.
It's Kittle light time, right, Tyler? If you're even there, he might hear that comment in 3 minutes.
Yep, I got my Kittle Light jersey on the way. Thank my buddy Nick. Gonna hop back into the Bucks just off of some of the comments. Fred saying the Greek Freak has done for Milwaukee what LeBron did for Cleveland, and then we'll be Spears and ones from the Suns competing. So we want to definitely keep Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and Kyo. Not a lot of rest in between for them. So going to be interesting to see how they perform, basically going straight from the finals to competing in the Olympics. And then had a comment from Daryl. I remember 1971, and that was grand, a long time coming. Yeah, it's 50 years is a long time. I mean, not a lot of people out there that remember the Bucks winning that championship.
How painful is that plane ride, dude, with Booker and Drew Middleton?
I was wondering the same thing. Are they gonna have separate planes?
These are like Booker's in the corner crying, and and Drew and Middleton got big old smiles on their faces. You know what I mean?
They should sit Drew right next to Booker.
That's wrong.
I need you to take him away. He's like, you're always crying.
Dude, I just dealt with it for 6 straight games this close to me.
So did you guys talk about the reffing at all?
We did.
You know what's the worst thing that I saw last night about Booker is he's using his off arm, his stiff arm, the whole game.
I talked about the chicken wing from James Harden. He does it all the time.
It's like, come on. Is the refs not seeing this? He's using his off arm and pushing everybody away. Like
next year.
The worst part about it is the elbow is up here. How do you not see that? All the way up here. It's not like a little subtle thing, right? Or you use the shoulder. It's up here. He's literally holding people's arms up there. I'm like, how? How is he getting away with that?
There were some runners he did where he literally extended, like not like the chicken wing. He extended his whole arm like he was fisting, like trying to, like, you know what I mean? like he was putting his whole fist out there on the ground. Like,
hey,
yeah, I was going towards just the crying after every call.
Yeah,
he may have got saved because he was gonna get a baby from a Kardashian. So,
he was saying the crying after every single time he put up a shot.
I mean, my God, how did the ref never say shut it or it's a T?
But the ref
they let him get away with a lot of drawing.
The thing is the ref does, just not to Booker for some reason. The ref does do that, just not to Booker. Why?
Yeah, if that was the regular season, he would have been booted.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, thinking about that, Isaac, that's really interesting. Maybe the refs didn't team up and throw him out because they got so much backlash for throwing out Jokic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a
Remember
good
that?
point.
That could be something.
Oh,
There
if he
was
would have
like
been
a
thrown
million
out,
articles written about that, about how Jokic shouldn't have been thrown out. He's the MVP. There was actually, you're right, Jake. You're right. That was actually a big thing.
yeah.
I remember Stephen A. talking about that on ESPN.
It's somewhere Rasheed Wallace is kicking himself. Like, really?
Oh, goodness.
Bro, every time
Yeah.
we talk about technicals, Rasheed Wallace's name comes up, man. Ball on line, Rasheed Wallace's name comes up, man.
Ron Artest.
Yeah.
Hey, did anybody hear from Kendrick Perkins?
Oh yeah, he loves the Bucks now. By the way,
Really?
Can we all agree that Kendrick Perkins is the worst analyst on the planet? But like genuinely, just the worst.
you ever listen to Brandon Marshall? He's pretty bad. Brandon Marshall's pretty stupid.
You mean the guy that pretends like he was good in the NBA?
Right?
No. That's not. No. He's talking about Brandon Marshall, the other one.
Yeah, Brandon Marshall's pretty
NFL.
bad, dude.
I'm about football analyst, Brandon
Yeah,
Marshall.
he's pretty bad. He talks about. I'm like, bro, just stick to catching footballs, man.
Oh, Skip
But
Bayless.
nothing you're saying right now is surprising, and you just sound stupid.
Mhm.
So I want to take a second, real quick, since Cody got in here late. Cody, I want to hear your favorite moment from the playoffs.
The big smile. You're muted.
Yeah, we can't hear you. We can see your cute kid though. No,
Side
can't
note,
hear you.
Cody's like the most tech savvy person that we know and doesn't know how to unmute.
Bro, he always is with the breaking
that's one
news.
more.
Like, how does this guy know
Right.
everything? Like 4 hours before ESPN.
You child-proofed it, bro.
Oh boy.
I can't hear you.
His kid can barely hold his head up. He child-proofed the computer. Well, anywho, I want to know what people think about the Cubs.
Cody's always
Everybody go
working.
Wilkins.
Oh goodness, the Cubs.
I'm just kidding, Tyler. I'm kidding, buddy.
Hey, they rallied
got
6 in
windy
a
in this
row
conversation.
against
Did
the
they
Cardinals. Nice. Beat them.
So they won 6 in a row and they're in what, like 26th place?
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care.
By the way, Dad, Nick is a Giants fan, and Isaac
Hey
is a
Nick,
Bengals fan.
your Giants could use fucking Kimbrough. I saw Rodgers get fucking shelled last night.
So let me ask Jake's dad: is Buster Posey overrated and washed up?
Oh no! Oh no!
Is he washed up?
Shit's getting deep.
Overrated.
Oh Lord.
Oh, that's
So anyways, about those Bucks, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I still feel he's a good player. Is he overrated? I guess that goes to you may think he is, the next guy doesn't, you know.
I don't think he is. Someone else thinks he is.
I wouldn't turn him off of my team or take, I wouldn't push him away.
All right, you might as well just get to the next level of the question. Would you rather have Joe Mauer or would you rather have Buster Posey?
I was getting there.
Don't split hairs. I don't want you to pick both sides. You got to pick one. I know how
Are we
you
taking, 5 years into their career?
Their
Yeah,
career,
at their peak, who is better? At their peak, who is better?
That's tough.
Oh,
My dad always plays middle. My dad always sits in the middle. Like, I like this guy, but I like this guy. I want you to
I
pick
still say Posey.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So let's be honest. Posey's defense is clearly better. I mean, and Mauer's what, 0.01 now? Better batting average or whatever?
I don't know. Mauer was a really good batter, though.
No, he was.
That's why I said that.
They're both good hitters.
Posey's hitting what, 325 this year or something after he took a year off? Like,
Haven't really followed.
Can Cody still not comment? Can he still?
don't
What's
know.
going on?
Cody, say Bucks in 6.
Cody's hacking the program right now.
He probably is, bro.
Yeah, I want to. I want to
Yeah,
add.
we're still waiting on Cody. He's kind of coming in and out.
Can I add one thing before I forget?
What's that?
Have you ever seen a coach like last night? Monty Williams went in the Bucks locker room to congratulate him. I thought that was super cool of him. I can't recall ever seeing that before. No.
I think I've seen Greg Pop do that.
I thought that was cool. I had a lot of respect for
Yeah,
Monty.
that was a lot of props to him for doing that.
Can we be honest though? He has a lot of really bad moments of coaching, like a lot of them. But I will say for the finals, he kept his composure, and I think he kept the Bucks in it. I think he was a great coach for the finals. I just saw many, many moments where I went, "Yo, the Bucks head coach is really losing his touch these days." Like,
I think what it is, like the series, basically, game 1 and 2, the Bucks didn't really play their game. They're settling for more jump shots and trying to spread the ball. Then just like how it should be, is they started playing inside more. Giannis started dominating the paint. They started implementing their size, and there's no answer the Suns can do, because once Ayton is out of the picture, you're left with Jay Crowder trying to guard the paint, and good luck with Giannis steamrolling you.
so let's hear from the Bucks fans how they feel about Bud after winning as opposed to before winning the finals, because I'm telling you, it was polar opposites there for a minute.
Okay, I'll go first. How I feel about Bud. I'm not one of those people that right away, because there's these fans in every fan base like, oh, fire this guy, or let's trade this guy, or let's release this guy. I'm not that guy. I like to stay the course. I like to see what happens. Was Bud maybe on his leash was getting a little tighter, a little shorter? Yeah, probably. But I thought he finally made the right adjustments. Oh, what was the adjustment? Let Giannis shoot the ball in the paint, set screens for Chris Middleton to get him wide open mid-rangers. It's not that hard to do. The thing that really makes me mad is sometimes with the defense is they just leave that corner 3 wide open for 3/4 of the game, and people just eat us up in there. That happened the last couple of years in the playoffs. I mean, that's why teams were shooting such great 3-point percentages against us, is they knew the weak spot in the defense. I think finally they cleaned that up. I think a Drew Holiday really made a difference, though. Being able to put that pressure, being able to fight over screens. They did in game 1, they did way too much switching, which was really, really pissing me off. That was just annoying. So that was bad defense. But once they got away from all that switching and just, aggressive show, I think that was the series right there, in my opinion. So I feel okay about Bud. He's a good coach. I mean, he came from a good Spurs system, so he should know how to win just from that. What do you think? One of the Tylers, what do you think? Or my dad, whichever one wants to.
I think the NBA is the hardest professional sport to coach. They're the biggest crybabies. They're prima donnas. They all make big, big, big bucks, the stars anyways. And I really feel, the top 10 to 15 players, they don't listen. I think he's a good coach. It ultimately comes down to the players, because you see it so many times, especially with the Bucks, how fluid they can look with their offense, in and out. They get the wide open looks, but that's when they start going inside, and then they get to the second quarter, and they come down. One guy gets the ball, he dribbles about 4 times and shoots. And they get a defensive rebound, and then they're on defense again. It's like he shortened his bench up, obviously, for the finals.
It was frustrating last night watching Giannis settle for jumpers.
Yeah, there's no reason. There was no reason.
Yeah.
That's where call the timeout, And, no, inside. Let's get the ball inside, work it inside out,
Do you guys remember last night in that fourth quarter when the game was close and Giannis just for no reason decided it was like not the top of the key, but on the side of the key, he just jacked up a three and it just did not even get close. And I went in the chat, I said, why would you ever think that that's what you needed in that moment? That's one of those things where it's like, as a coach, why are you even allowing that at that point?
Again, I mean,
that's always been my gripe with Coach Bud is that he doesn't give a shit for to limit any of that. He doesn't stop it. He just keeps going, and it's like the players take over, and he's just there.
I think it's like I don't know why. It's like the heat of the moment. He needs to shoot that ball. It's like, man, you have the God-given ability to just bulldoze these guys over and just dunk on their faces. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
man.
Like he was doing what LeBron used to do back in the days, was just back up a couple feet and then go straight to the rim, and nobody can stop him from doing that. So there's no reason.
I think after that shot. I think after that shot, I think he did do a fake and he drove. And it's like, that's what you got to do.
Well, why does it take that missed three for you to – that should be something that Bud's sitting there going, hey, Giannis, you're not shooting a three this fourth quarter. That's not what we need. Like,
yeah,
that should be just natural.
And you would think he'd be a player that would actually listen to that advice, but – I think they give these stars,
It's like a if it ain't broke, don't fix it type situation.
Yeah.
Let me ask the Bucks fans in here. Do you think if you would have lost the series, Coach Bud would have been let go?
Oh, 100%. Easy.
Okay.
He's gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, if the Bucks
If we lost the Brooklyn series, yes. Or Atlanta for that matter.
If the Bucks just don't get
Because
anywhere,
there's no reason they should have lost the Atlanta series.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have even been a series, to be honest. They were way better than the Hawks.
Should have lost the Atlanta series. And
if the Bucks just don't get anywhere near the finals this year, do you think Bud is then on the hot seat again, or is this like now that they won the finals, it's like this like job security at this point?
He only has 1 year on his contract.
Yeah, but he's gonna stay.
I think they give him.
They might not renew it. Who knows?
Who right now is available that could be better than Bud right now?
There really isn't, unless Mark Jackson miraculously I'm going to coach again, which never happens. There really isn't anybody to look at that's wonderful.
The way I look at it is, if Giannis vouches for him, he gets a contract extension.
I think Giannis is more than happy.
Situation where Darvin Ham.
I was just gonna say what Isaac said, because
the only
Giannis basically got Chris Middleton paid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because he's like, hey, this is my boy. You saw it yesterday in the interview. He was like, how do you feel about Chris Middleton? He's like, we did it, buddy. And then Chris is just like, yeah, man, we did it, and like they just had that great moment, because they've been together for 8 years. If Giannis vouches for Coach Bud, then he'll be
you keep your star happy. Aaron Rodgers, you keep your star happy. You know what I mean?
I said that a couple weeks ago. Dude. And Rodgers is do you see his tweet yesterday?
No.
He talked about how the owners did a great job putting this team together. The GM did a great job. He pointed out, the player personnel people. Like, he pointed all these people out. And I told Tyler before the show, I was like, Tyler, we're in the business where we kind of have to read between the lines and, comprehend what these people are saying. I think Rodgers is throwing shade at the Packers right there.
Subliminals.
I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and then Wilkins and I were kind of talking too in the chat. Is like he kind of questioned why Rodgers wouldn't be there, and I was like, I wouldn't be there either, because media will just follow him around. He goes to the bathroom. You got Adam Schefter sliding under his legs while he's using a urinal. You know what I mean? Trying to get a sound bite. Like, I wouldn't be at the game either.
On the left side of the toilet, which means he is out. He is gone. Like,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the guy can't even get nachos without, going to be 5 people asking him if he's going to be a Packer or not. You know.
For
You
real.
know,
Let's be
I said
honest.
this to
Okay.
Jake years ago. As good as ESPN is for sports, they are also that bad for sports.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You know, back in the day, even with Favre, how they had somebody outside of Favre's house and all that stuff. You know,
Or
I
that one
mean,
time,
come on, this is some of these
that one
guys.
time-
They're human, man.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not just like you and me, but they are.
Yeah,
They still have families and all that crap. You know, it's like leave them alone.
yeah. I didn't like how Schefter, comes out with that, with the details on the Bucks' day. You know what I mean? Like, you're ruining something for the fans. And when he came out with that on the draft day, you're ruining kids' dreams. You know what I mean? All they're
Yeah.
talking about is Rodgers instead of these kids that are getting finally their NFL moment. And every commercial is like talking about where's Rodgers
And-
going to go, you know?
Here's the evilness of the media is the whole world went, Aaron Rodgers is so selfish that his name is everywhere. It's not Aaron Rodgers' fault that some report came out that even Adam Schefter himself admitted to not having sources when he said he did.
Yep.
This is not Aaron Rodgers' fault, but the world works in such a way that words can be skewed and everyone thinks Aaron Rodgers is now an arrogant prick and he is selfish and wants all the limelight. That's
I think he did the right thing by just staying quiet.
Yep.
He's never really been that guy to make noise in the media, though. So why all of a sudden, 16 years into his career, he's going to be like, oh, yeah, I just want to be the main story, especially on draft day. Or when he's a minority owner in the Bucks. Of course he wants the Bucks to have the limelight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's
why
no reason.
incriminate
Schefter's
yourself?
an asshole. That's all I
Yeah.
know.
Why incriminate yourself? You know what I mean? Just stay between the lines. He doesn't really
Yep.
have to say anything. You know?
No, he
Sometimes
doesn't.
the best things said are things that aren't said.
Exactly.
That's exactly what
Wise
Rodgers
words.
said, too. He said
At this-
sometimes the quietest
at this
person in the
point,
room has most power.
if Schefter said tomorrow that Rodgers said he's coming back, I'd go, I don't believe you now. I just don't believe anything you say at this point. Like, this is something that needed to be done a long time ago, where people need to stop giving so much credit to reporters, because unless you're Wojorski, you really have. I'm not even going to believe anything you said anymore.
Yeah, why is everybody ignoring Rodgers' teammates, our former teammates that are hanging out with him that say, he could possibly report, he could report, but instead
Because
of
they're-
believing Schefter,
Because they're being biased.
yeah, right, bias.
I think it's a big deal that people want the downfall of the Packers so bad that they'll point out an article from a former offensive lineman from the Denver Broncos on draft night that says a deal is as close to 100% as it could be, and then have literally nothing happen.
Yep. What was it, July 3rd, where everyone was like, the reports are coming out like Rodgers plans on opting out, and you're like, really? Well, I keep hearing that, but it's July 21st now, and I keep hearing that.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Man.
Yeah, Rodgers is going to go here and there and here and there, and
Well,
all these. Yeah,
I just think that all of us do need to have a certain mindset. Though, look, I'm one of the biggest Aaron Rodgers apologists you'll meet, but I'm getting to the point where I just don't really care anymore about this whole thing. I just don't care anymore. We're moving on with or without you at this point, and that's how it's got to be.
yeah. We just got to wait it out till he hits, if he shows up to camp or not, because every day they're going to come up with a new story, you know what I mean, about Rodgers, and it's going to mislead everybody,
I'm just hoping that Jake and I see him next Wednesday when we go to Packers practice.
That would be
Me too.
awesome.
I want to see him do that throwing drill in the end zone.
Get him on the show.
I just feel like if I said, hey, all 6 of us, raise your hand if you think we need Rodgers to come back. All 6 of us would.
Hey, just wear a Zenith watch, and he'll find you.
Yeah.
Go to every golf course. He'll be there.
Right?
But I think if I asked us all to raise our hand if we think we need Rodgers, we'd all raise our hand. Now, I think at this point it's so late in the game that if I asked, are we sick of hearing about it and we're over it? I feel like most of us would go, yes. I'm so done being jerked around, emotionally being in this realm where somebody says something that I love and I'm like, oh, and then someone says something I hate and I go, nah, like I'm just sick of doing it. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny too is the rival fans are like, yeah, there's so much turmoil. You know, if Rodgers comes back, how's there gonna be any turmoil? Rodgers knows like the playbook like the back of his hand. And he already said he memorized all of LaFleur's plays. So like, what is Rodgers gonna miss out on? You know what I mean?
Right.
Plus,
he has to learn the timing of the new guys. That's it. That's it. Timing of the new guys. And Rodgers can learn that like that because he's the smartest guy in every room he walks into.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you guys don't remember this name, but Ken Ruckers, he played left tackle for the Packers years ago. Never showed up for mini camps. And then miraculously, about 2 weeks before the season, he came in, practiced, and was a starting left tackle.
See, that's why we bring a
veteran. He goes,
man on the show.
I don't need to be here. I don't want to wear my body out. You know, all this good stuff.
I'm pretty sure Bakhtiari could do that today. Why is he even at camp?
No, now they get fined. Big time.
That's true.
I thought the team chooses to fine him. Or is it the NFL? I thought the team can choose to put that.
The team can waive it off. They can waive the penalties off. But when it comes to training camp, the CBA has to have them there.
Oh,
or they get fined. Yeah.
It's all part of that agreement, you know, to get the big bucks.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, though, Bakhtiari could not train 1 minute and be the best left tackle in the game still.
Hey, I'm going to quote
definitely the best beer chugger, I'll tell you that.
I'm going to quote Allen Iverson here. We're talking about practice.
Yeah. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
Right. Well, let's be honest. Rashawn Gary, if you're not there, we're mad. If Stokes or you know what, let's be honest, Kevin King, you better be at practice. You better be at practice at this
Kevin
point.
King needed OTAs after the NFC Championship game. That's how bad he was.
I'd rather leave him off the bus.
Kevin King needs a shrink, a doctor, and a coach. I mean, like, you better be there doing everything you can, all right?
Well, so you want to take him out for dinner, huh?
If that makes it so he doesn't get burnt in the NFC Championship game, I'm all for it.
You know how
I always stick up for King. I don't fucking know why, but there shouldn't have been single high safety coverage on that play either.
You know how Lazard,
that was just stupid coaching.
I agree. It was a bad timing down. I mean, come on here. Let's.
They scored on 0 on fourth down. What do you think they're gonna run?
And you have your slowest guy on the back end against the fastest guy they have on the whole team.
Yeah.
With no back coverage, you just I don't know what to say.
Dude, all it took was him to miss that jam and it was over. That's all it took. And obviously he missed.
You know how Lazard always crowns Devontae Adams after a touchdown? King should snatch that right off his head. Oh man. Hey, Stokes, I'm hoping Stokes is that guy that he's the guy, you know what I mean?
They're saying Stokes is turning heads everywhere right now. He's blanketing people. I don't know if you got I already know you guys saw those reports. He's blanketing people in practice. That's the word that they used. He's faster than everybody we got. We are possibly a top 3 fastest backfield for secondary for the entire NFL right now.
Oh, Savage can fly too.
Yeah, so Amos does it all. Yeah, Amos you just think of as a thumper, but he can move, man. That dude's fast.
And Jay Alexander's like okay, I guess, but
Jay, oh my God.
He's okay.
So when we were my dad was talking about how players are humans. I was at the mall a couple years ago. This was Jair's rookie year, and he was at the mall with MVS. And I remember my dad telling me all the time that they're people and they just want to enjoy their time. So I didn't go up and say hi to them, but I saw them at the Appleton Mall, and I should have said hi to them, you know, looking back on it because I like both players. But I always just think about what my dad said. They're just people and they want to enjoy their time. So I just left them alone. I should have said hi to him, but Jair Alexander, dude, was like 10 feet away from me. That was badass.
If he was that early in his career, he wants you to boost his ego. So you should have said hi.
I didn't want 100 people coming up to him, though, and ruining his whole day.
It's different situations. You know, if it was super crowded and it would have drawn a lot of attention to him, I do agree with he's young, so he probably would have liked it.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, if they're out to dinner or something with their family or a loved one or something, then no.
You should have been like, hey, look, it's Jalen Ramsey's owner.
Well, that's Devontae Adams, first of all.
Oh, yeah, Devontae Adams. Don't mind me.
All right. Well, Jake and I will be at the Packers practice next Wednesday, so hopefully we can get some good news out there about the Packers. Want to thank all you guys for joining the show. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to share about the Bucks, because we're here celebrating the Milwaukee Bucks championship. And don't forget, for any of you that follow the show, follow the pages, follow the Wisco Fanatics page. For every share of a post during July, you'll get entered in. And then at the end of July, we're going to do a drawing for a $25 Parker Johns gift card. So we're thankful to have Parker Johns as our first official sponsor. And we're going to have gift cards to give away from Parker Johns. We're excited for the Packers, excited for the Brewers. We're going to talk about a lot more next week, and we're going to break down all the games of the Bucks next week as well. I see Pat's got his Parker Johns.
That's for the golf
Parker Johns ready to go there. So I don't know if you guys have anything else as far as the Bucks or the Packers. Looking forward to having another Packers season and seeing if we can pull off a Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and see if we can get 3 championships all in the state of Wisconsin this year.
I just once again want to say, as a Lakers fan, that's like the greatest feeling in the world. So I'm so happy for you guys. That's so awesome. It's been 50 years. I was genuinely happy, like, for Bucks fans and the Bucks in general. That was just really cool to watch. So congratulations, for real.
Thank you.
Congrats, guys. You know, the Antetokounmpos are all champions.
3 out of 4. He's got a younger brother coming up yet that's only 19.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Didn't he need him? He's playing overseas, right?
Yeah.
No, that's Kostas. Well, yeah, and Kostas is playing overseas now, too.
Kostas went back.
Yeah.
Alexis is coming over yet. He's only 19.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a brother, Alex? I thought his name was
Alex. He's the one that was at the game last night that he hugged after his mom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Oh, when he grabbed the phone?
Yeah.
He was FaceTiming somebody or whatever, and he's yelling at him.
Thanasis.
It had to be Thanasis. Dude, they got to have such a strong bond because of what they went through together.
Oh, yeah. But congrats, guys. I mean, enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a big moment, you know what I mean? In Milwaukee, you know what I mean? It's very huge. And Deer District went crazy.
All right, Jake, you got anything else before we sign off and get ready for our show next week?
Bucks and 6, baby. That's all I got.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys all for joining and sharing your Bucks celebration. And yeah, that's awesome. We're able to get a championship for the Milwaukee Bucks. That's very exciting to see Giannis with his championship hat on. So, all right, guys, take care. We'll be talking to you guys all soon. Thanks for joining the show again.
Later.
Thanks, boys. Talk to you later.